Hey guys, this is Courtney from Cosmic Clarity Astrology, and I'm here today to give you the forecast for the full moon that's happening tomorrow, November 15th, in the sign of Taurus. And this is going to be definitely an interesting full moon because you can see here that the moon is conjunct Uranus almost exactly. And Uranus is the planet of shock, surprise, sudden changes, unexpected outcomes. And I can definitely attest to this. This full moon is trining my natal moon. Regardless, I just went on a rappelling trip, which is why this video is coming a little bit late, and I accidentally fell 10 feet and swung and hit my body against the rock. It could have been obviously way, way worse, but there is that kind of unexpected quality of things that you thought were going to go a certain way collapsing, or losing steam, or turning into a different direction, conversations moving in unexpected ways, people making decisions that may feel somewhat erratic or different, and the tides can change really quickly during a full moon like this. But ultimately, Uranus is one of these outer planets. These outer planets, especially Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, like the farthest outer planets, are really connected to spirit consciousness and evolutionary consciousness, like what is in it, what's best for our soul's evolution. And so they can have a little bit of this kind of intense feeling around them because there is, I don't know, I almost picture them like the gods from some of these fantasy books that I read, or like this neutral type of character that will really directly, strongly influence your life and your sense of direction, but it might not always feel benevolent or uplifting, but it's in your soul's best interest. And so it's almost like a parent who knows what the long-term outcome is for things, and so they will make certain adjustments, or they will have certain parameters set up to keep you on your path. And I see that kind of like, a visual with when you're bowling and they put up those little walls so that when you throw the ball, it ricochets off the walls so it can get to its end destination and knock the pins over. It's like that, where the universe will come and they will put in these kind of unusual circumstances or experiences to have us stay aligned on our path. And that could mean that people fall out of our lives. Again, something could lose steam and the wind could fall out of the sails and it doesn't move forward anymore. Or you could just have an unexpected realization or a sense of awakening, which Uranus is the great awakener. And so you can see how it kind of serves this larger purpose beyond your comfort, beyond what you say you really want. I think obviously there's something about what you really want wrapped up in here, but it's almost like what's best for you in the biggest picture of things. And this full moon is going to give that to you. And so if there is some uncomfortable thing happening, keep in mind that this full moon will help you, even through that discomfort, to align more with your most authentic nature and your most honest and expressive nature, as well as help free you from maybe some limiting or restricting situations. So Uranus plays a role in all of those things. And this is a full moon in Taurus, so this is happening on a very material reality. For some of you, this could be related to money or a job or a relationship, because that is a very physical thing. Somebody else is literally in your life. It could look different for a lot of people. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of love and relationships and money. So whatever it is, those tend to be the highest kind of focus. What's really interesting as well about this full moon that feels kind of eclipsy in a way is the fact that Venus, which is the ruler of Taurus, the ruler of this moon, is in Capricorn. And you can see here it's squaring the nodes almost exactly. So when a planet comes into a square with the nodes, there is some kind of like faded element to what's happening, as well as, of course, Uranus being involved. But when Venus is at this point where she's squaring the nodes, she's a little bit at a crossroads. And so I think that what we're going to experience is some kind of contrast or choice. So we're going to get like things were moving really fast and then all of a sudden things slow down. And that could be a contrast, for example. Or you can reach a crossroads where you have to decide between this or that. And there is this feeling of the road running out that you're currently on. And you can't just continue on the way that you're going. I mean, you can, but there is some element of really needing to hold on and like hold on to the past and almost like this stuck energy. And so this full moon is trying to push us out of that. So if there is some kind of, pattern or habit that you find yourself falling back into at the time of this full moon, that is meant to be alarming, because we are meant to be making different choices. And with Venus in Capricorn, we're meant to be moving towards something that is solid, something that we can build upon, something that has legs to it, that has a future to it, that has substance to it. And if you're kind of wasting the energy or wasting your time with someone or something, if what you're putting your life force and your love and your care and your value and your consistency into something that isn't actually giving you a long-term return on your investment, then this full moon has the potential to destabilize that area of your life, to show you that maybe you don't want to clip in to that part of the rock and fall 10 feet and hurt yourself. Maybe you want to clip into a little bit more solid part of the rock. Maybe you want to know what you're doing so that you can take that leap of faith in the future and not have unnecessary risk. So it's almost like Uranus is precipitating or kind of trying to get ahead of, anticipating the downfall of something, the weak points of something, and it's trying to get ahead of it and course correct or destabilize it already, so that there isn't this whole long path of investment and trying to figure things out. So there's a sense of having something kind of rock your world a little bit to force you to recognize where you may be, again, putting excess, or not excess energy, but putting consistent effort and energy into something that doesn't have the ability to sustain itself and sustain itself long term. And these are key words for earth signs. The long term comes from Capricorn, which is very much associated with time and planning. And the sustaining and maintenance is associated with Taurus, which is where this moon is. So there's this energy of, how can this sustain me? Maybe it sustains me right now, but it won't sustain me long term. And if that's the case, something will destabilize about this so that you can shake up the energy. And another thing that's going on, let me just check the aspects here, is Mercury is going to be really kind of going through something right now. Mercury is in Sagittarius, so it's already a little bit dysfunctional. Mercury is a planet of our mindset. It's a planet of our communication, of our decision making, the way that we come to understand things. And it's in Sagittarius, again, a sign that's super focused on beliefs and philosophy and religion and bigger pictures. And so our kind of logical mind can get a little bit lost in the metaphors that Sagittarius can have, or the big picture that Sagittarius can have. And that's even more emphasized by the fact that it's opposite Jupiter. So we're kind of in this like grandiose, big picture thinking right now, where we might get a little bit swept away. We might not anticipate the full outcome of something. This is part of us. There's a little bit more nuance I'll get to in a second with the square of Saturn. But there's something going on here where it's like you might overestimate how much things can work out, or how much time you have, or, if it makes sense for you. You might give too much credence to something or too much optimism to something. And I can see that deflating as a result of some of these circumstances with this crazy volatile Uranus energy, because Saturn is squaring this Jupiter Mercury opposition. So it's almost like, yeah, you can fly high, and then we're going to tell you something, or you're going to realize something, or something's going to happen, or be communicated to you, and you're going to fall flat. And it might not work out exactly like that. So it could manifest in different ways, but there's basically like a push and pull energy that could be happening maybe simultaneously, or again, one after the other, or however, where you might feel like you are being brought back to reality, or you are seeing both the high side of something or the optimistic side of something and the low side or the realistic side of something. So I feel like we're going to be navigating that, and some of us might have difficult conversations, difficult decisions. We might hear bad or scary news, or we just might be, again, really thrown off guard because Uranus does that. And then we're kind of down to the wire of, well, how do I want to move forward from here? And this doesn't all have to be negative circumstances. Absolutely not. Like, some of you guys might have a surprising good thing happen, but then you're kind of at this point where you have to ask yourself if this new thing that's happening for you that might seem good, or this new event or circumstance, if that seems good, does this make sense for you long term? And if it does, can you commit to it? Can you make the difficult decision to commit long term? And that is kind of what this full moon is trying to do. It's trying to bring in some sense of instability to have us question things and then make the difficult decision of where we want to put our time and energy, especially when it comes to our material reality as well as our emotional reality with our relationships. So I did pull a few cards here. Let's see, is there anything else I want to talk about? Yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of briefly mention this, but we do have Pluto in a square to Black Moon Lilith. This can bring up some shadow elements of our own psyche and of our own relationships. So this could be kind of like darker sexual tendencies. This is a Taurus full moon. Taurus tends to be extremely sensual. Venus in Taurus is, highly sexual, as well as Mars and Black Moon Lilith. So we might be getting a little bit of some of those kind of residual feelings. Some of us might be getting, feeling a little bit like having fantasies that are maybe darker, or having sexual fantasies. That's possible. Or it could be that some of those dark elements start to creep up in your own psyche in regards to the situation that you're in or the relationship that you're in. And there can be some shadow elements that we're kind of working through. So feeling like rage or jealousy, or wanting to get back at somebody, wanting to manipulate someone, or get the upper hand with something, or dominate somebody, or fight back. Like there's these kind of elements that could potentially leak into the situation that we are currently in, especially if it's relational, because obviously these energies tend to come up in those particular scenarios the most. Okay, so that's just a side note, not going to apply to everybody, especially if this is not aspecting your chart. You can see on the chart here that the moon is at 24 degrees of Taurus, exactly in 0 seconds, which is kind of cool. So if you have any planets around 24 degrees of the fixed signs, which are Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, or Scorpio, you will notice that this will affect you the most on a much more personal level. So I want to talk about some of the cards that I pulled, then we'll get into what this looks like for all the signs. And this might be like a little bit of a briefer video, because I am actually working on recording a really long video around the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, which I'm super excited about. So things might be a little bit, shorter or slower in other regards while I work on that video. So stay tuned. Please subscribe if you're not already, if you're enjoying this, if you want to see that long video about the conjunction that's happening in 2026 and summer 2025 a little bit. Okay, so the cards that I have are the Chariot and then the Page of Wands in reverse. So this one is interesting to me because when I look at the Chariot, one of the first things that not everyone, but one of the first things that I think about, and most people probably, is the speed. Chariot moves quickly. And there is always some element of balancing masculine and feminine, and using our willpower and having to make kind of important decisions to keep things moving, to keep things going forward and become successful. But there is that element of speed that is one of the highest qualities of the Chariot, or most noticeable. Then we have the Page of Wands in reverse. So the Page of Wands is also a card of speed, but it being in reverse, it could represent the negative outcomes of speed. So when we're jumping into something too fast, we can really, again, this is kind of pointing back to either that crossroads or the contrast that we are likely to experience as a result of Venus squaring the nodes. If you have done something, if something has happened really fast, you might notice with the Page of Wands that you feel like that was a little bit hasty, or it didn't have the outcome that you wanted, or it ended up, again, kind of the wind leaving the sails. But there's some element here of, I hate this reflection. Why do people make glossy cards? It's like, makes no sense. But yeah, there's some element here of, I'm moving really quickly. This is what I want. This is where I'm choosing to go with the Chariot. And then the Page of Wands, you might start to have some regrets around that decision, or some uncertainties, or you might realize that you jumped in too fast. So there's this, again, this contrast here of, I'm super committed, I'm going ahead, I'm going fast, to, wait a second, was that speed the right speed? Did I make the right choices? Did I need to do something differently? And Uranus does have a very rebellious, unconventional, but also an extreme quality to it. So the decisions that we make right now might be out of character. They might go against what other people would want, or they might push back somehow on like what is expected of us. And they might also be extreme in the sense that we're flipping a switch, or we're making very, again, kind of sudden and somewhat like aggressive decisions with what we're doing. So that is possible if this is talking about a person, especially. That is possible here, that you might be making those decisions, somebody else might be. It's almost like, you know, just, yes, a more extreme situation, like having a heightened reaction to something, or you're thinking about something kind of off and on, and then you wake up one day and you do it really suddenly, or you are saying, oh, I want to change, and then all of a sudden you, like, you know, quit your job and move your house. And it's like you can go to an extreme when maybe you just wanted a little bit of a change. So there is just the propensity for that to happen. And this could feel a little bit scary because, you know, Taurus is where we feel most constant, most sustained, most comfortable in certain ways in our life. It is very much associated with like gardening and the earth and how we are taken care of and nurtured. And with Uranus here, we might just suddenly have something that felt really comfortable and nurturing to us get ripped away. And that might feel, again, quite scary. And I can see that with the nurturing in reverse and the moon upright. These were actually your advice cards. The nurturing in reverse is talking about, you know, being aware of when we kind of let our guard down and overextend or overgive to other people, or maybe don't have the right, separation. I think is super important because Taurus is very much about having like an autonomous and separate sense of self. And Uranus is also about individuation and autonomy as well. And so these paired together are really kind of asking us to make sure that we are solid in who we are and have that necessary separation and are filling up our cup in the ways that we need before overextending ourselves for other people. And so this nurturing in reverse, if you, this isn't going to apply to everybody, but if you resonate with being the people pleaser or somebody overgiving, or if you feel like you've been struggling to fill up your own cup or take care of yourself or sleep 8 hours or whatever, you might notice that something happens around this full moon to create upheaval or disruption in your environment and your situations or events in your life in order to bring more awareness to what you are not doing for yourself, how you are not giving to yourself in necessary ways. And the moon upright indicates that there's a lot of things, but one of the things is obviously that there is, if you know tarot, this is an oracle card, but if you know tarot, the moon represents things being hidden or not being able to see something. The moon comes out at night when it's dark. So there could be some elements of the situation that are still unfolding that you might not have total clarity on. And your advice is kind of to trust your own gut instinct around something. If you don't really understand or fully grasp the situation and the impacts of something long term, it's okay to still make a decision based off of what your heart and your instinct or your intuition is telling you. So I think that's super important. The other set of cards I have is the Three of Pentacles upright and the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So again, this feels like the contrast I was speaking about. So we have Three of Pentacles and then two. So it's like a downgrade happening here where, yes, we're working together, we're building something, we're putting our energy into something. This could be, again, a partnership, a business, a job, something that you're excited about. You were like, yes, I'm building this, I'm growing this, I'm putting my all into this and working with other people in order to make this happen. And then we get the Two of Pentacles. And then we start to feel like, maybe we took on too much. Maybe we, again, went too fast because there's this element of speed, but there's also an element of quantity. So maybe it happened too fast, or maybe we're doing too much at once or too much too soon. So there is an element of, again, speed and quantity coming into play. And the Two of Pentacles in reverse is somebody who feels like they are going to drop the balls that they are juggling. And Uranus can really create this frazzled type of energy, almost like a manic, really exaggerated kind of energy where you feel like there's a lot of electricity, it's hard to sleep, you're a little bit wired, and you have lots of ideas, and you feel unsettled. And I feel like that's part of this full moon, is it's bringing that energy into our bodies, into our minds, into events or circumstances, into other people in our lives, and it's creating that kind of like jolt of unsettled energy. And it can make us feel like that normal earth container, that Three of Pentacles, we've been building this, we've been sustaining this, everything's been flowing. It's like, okay, now I'm juggling, but then there's this chaotic lightning that's coming, and I just drop all the balls that I'm juggling, and I can't sustain the amount that I'm holding, or I can't keep this charade going once the circumstances and the environment become different. So I hope that makes sense. So it's like you kind of run out of capacity in a way because there's so much going on. There's so much overstimulation. So that's kind of how I see this. And there are just so many like street sweepers. I've never seen them here in my life. And they just keep going up and down the road, and they're so loud. So there's this energy of just like kind of chaos going on around you, and I'm sitting here trying to record this and think and channel and read these cards, and it's extremely distracting. And that's the kind of element that I'm talking about. Is, on a normal day I could record the video and it's not a big deal because I have one thing that I'm focusing on at the moment. But then what happens when life brings up a little bit of chaos, and you have to be able to sustain this thing and keep going at that pace? And that's just not always going to be reasonable. So there's something around this full moon that's going to create a little bit of chaos, ultimately, to have us kind of, I guess in a way, kind of resettle into our lives. So like, let's kick up the dirt, and then we can reorganize things, create a new plan, a new sense of direction, a new way of managing our time or our resources or our emotions, to make sure that we are taken care of, to make sure that we can handle the capacity of what we're trying to manage in our life, to make sure that we are in the right situations or with the right people or in the right environments or in the right jobs, to make sure that we're headed in the right direction. So that's the ultimate purpose of this full moon in Taurus on November 15th. Go ahead and make sure that you check out all of the rising and sun signs down below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends. And also, if you want a reading from me, you can check me out at cosmicclarityastrology.com, which I will link in the description box down below. Thanks. All right, up first we have Aries rising and sun. So this Taurus new moon happening on November 15th is taking place in your second house of finances. So for those of you guys who are in Aries rising, you might notice that you have some kind of sudden change in your financial or physical reality. So this could look like, okay, I really want to buy a home, or I really want to sell something, or I have a sudden unexpected expense or something go wrong with my house. Or you might decide that your current path if, in terms of making money, you might feel like it's somehow disrupted or becomes unstable, or you might realize that there's something about it that you want to change or that you want to alter, especially career wise, because the ruler of this full moon, Venus, is in your 10th house of career and squaring the nodes in your 1st and 7th house axis. So you might realize there's some kind of change in direction that you feel like you're getting kind of, that you feel motivated by, essentially. So some of you guys can come into a time where you are, let's see, like, I feel like there's a runway. This is what I'm seeing, like a plane runway, and you were planning on going down it. You're planning on taking off via that runway, but you instead do a quick pivot and rip out that runway. So I don't know what that brings up for you, hopefully something, but there's something here around like planning and longevity, or using something to launch you somewhere, or if you made a decision to commit to something, you would have gone in that direction. It would have been important for like the trajectory of your life. Kind of like, where you decide to buy a house or where you decide to get married. These kinds of, like, a significant decision that influences the next, set of years of your life, where you decide to get a job. It might feel like a small thing at the time, but it's launching you into a particular direction. And with this Uranus on the moon, I feel like you guys are ripping up that runway, and you are deciding that there's something about that trajectory or that launch pad that isn't going to work for you, and you want to put it somewhere else. And so this could be on a very small level to a very big level. It's going to look different for everybody. But this could look like, small level could be like, I'm not going to have my birthday party at that place. I'm going to have it here. I'm going to focus on doing this on my birthday instead. Or on a big level, I already mentioned, it could be like choosing a different kind of job, for example, or a different way of making money. And with the 4 of Wands and the 5 of Cups, I am curious if there's something going on relationally here, because this Venus is squaring the nodes in your 1st and 7th house axis, which is about the self and others, the relationship line, basically. And so I am kind of wondering if this involves other people. With the 4 of Wands to the 5 of Cups, there's this, again, contrast. If you watch the overview, then you'll know what I'm talking about. There's this contrast happening of this perfect happy family with the 4 of Wands, where you're getting married, or you're celebrating something, or you're feeling really content with like where you're settled down. And then the 5 of Cups is you suddenly realizing, actually, I don't feel fulfilled here. I feel like this person isn't really supporting me, or I feel like I thought I would love this house, but it's missing X, Y, and Z, or whatever it is. So there's something here. It's like you're starting to see what's not satisfying you on an emotional level. And then you have the 8 of Pentacles, which is a card of mastering something or building a skill for something. So this could look different depending on what the situation is, but there could be a skill that you're needing to develop in order to kind of adjust your life in a necessary way. And that could indicate Venus in Capricorn the 10th. You might want to learn something new. Mercury is in your 9th house right now. But yeah, the essential energy of the 8 of Pentacles is that there's some kind of like work in progress, or something that needs for you to put more energy into it in order for it to become something. So I feel like you guys are noticing the contrast of what isn't working, and then you have the opportunity to build something up in order to make yourself feel at peace with what wasn't working. So if it is, for example, that you are in a job that doesn't actually satisfy you, or you thought it was going to be good, but then it starts disappointing you in some way, you might start to decide to go back to school and study something on the side, or develop some kind of marketing skills or personal business or something like that, that you will then have the skill to eventually monopolize. So it's like I'm seeing the deficiency and I'm going out into the world and accumulating knowledge, experience, wisdom. I'm doing something different in order to develop what I need, to have the tools that I need to get myself out of the situation that I'm currently in. And if this is relationally, this could also be like relationship skills, or, if you notice that certain things keep coming up in the dynamic with somebody, this could be you getting clear on what that missing piece is and, learning how to cultivate that within yourself or within the relationship or whatever. Your advice cards is the water and assurance. So I feel like you guys might be having some kind of emotional disturbance as a result of this full moon, and your advice here is to rest assured that whatever is happening here is going to become stabilized again, or you are going to find that if something falls away, that you are a lot more stable without it, and that just because you notice that discrepancy doesn't mean that it's going to stay like that. There is an assurance here of things getting better, but it will get better as a result of your actions with the Eight of Pentacles, as a result of your maturing, you're making a different decision, developing certain skills on the physical or even emotional plane. So it could look very different for everybody, but there is this overall outcome that no matter what you're feeling now, things are going to work out well for you. So that's what I see for you, Aries. If this resonates, please let me know down below in the comments. I love to hear all of your comments. If you want a reading from me, check me out at cosmicclarity.astrology.com. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Taurus rising and sun. So this full moon's happening in your sign, which means it's in your first house if you're a Taurus rising. And it's happening on November 15th at 24 degrees of Taurus. So if you have your ascendant there or planet at 24 degrees or even plus or minus like 5 degrees, you will notice that this impacts you quite strongly, especially because Uranus is on this moon. So you guys can expect the unexpected here. That's going to be the case for everyone, but especially my Taurus. You might even find that you are the one behaving unexpectedly, or that you have something happen to you that really affects you in a way that might be shocking, or that might cause some kind of reversal or some kind of change up that surprises you. And especially like with where you see yourself or how you see yourself as a person or where you see yourself going, those things, that perception can be altered as a result of this full moon. So Venus is the ruler of, well, first of all, it's your ruler, but also it's the ruler of this moon. And it's in Capricorn in your 9th house, and it's squaring the nodes. So all of my Taurus and my Libras are going through some kind of critical point, critical mass point, where something builds to a certain place, and from that place, it explodes, or it becomes a star, or it, disintegrates. There's this sense of like, things will develop so much, they'll reach such a peak, a crescendo, that then an important manifestation will have to come as a result of this, or you will have to make an important decision. And with the Five of Swords, some of you guys might feel a little bit overstimulated, a little bit chaotic, indecisive. You might be kind of at war with yourself around a certain situation. You might even find potentially that you have conflict with another person. Doesn't have to be the case, but the Five of Air, or the Five of Swords, is somebody who's kind of going through something where they might feel a little bit defeated, or they might get a little bit worried about a negative outcome, or they might be experiencing mental turmoil of some sort. And I really feel like you guys are, I think it's probably from change or instability or overstimulation that your nervous system can get kind of revved up, and it could feel a little bit, maybe you have like lots of ideas, or maybe you're feeling a little bit manic, or you're meeting again, you're at this crossroads and you're like staying up at night and you're like, well, should I go this way or should I go that way, and what's the right decision for me, and do I want to make this change, do I want to take this leap of faith, can I do this, am I capable of this, or maybe there are certain changes that are happening to you and you're having to process all of that and you're like, wow, this is just a lot. So I can just see you guys kind of laying awake at night and having a lot to think about. And with the Strength card, I feel like this is telling you to have courage, have conviction in who you are, conviction in your purpose, in your message, in your sense of direction, in what your intuition, your gut is telling you. Have conviction, even if it is going against someone else, or even if it's going against the norm of society or what your family wants from you or what you've done in the past. There is some kind of change that is creating friction in your psyche, and I feel like you're ready to take some kind of leap or to embrace the waves of change that are thrust upon you. And the Strength card is saying to anchor into yourself at this time. I see this as so different, like this Five of Swords is somebody like dancing in the clouds, or like dancing over these like birds and feathers, and I feel this very ungrounded type of energy and mentally very stimulated. And then you are coming into the Lion, which is somebody tapped into their fierceness and this earthly, like grounded type of energy. And I think you're meant to ground into your heart, into what you think is right for you at this time, in order to navigate the potential changes that are happening to you or that you are choosing. Any advice here, Spirit? Sacred Unity and Death and Magic. So yeah, Death and Magic came out in reverse. So some of you guys might feel like you're not ready. You're not ready for this change, or you're resisting it somehow, or you are uncertain about what's on the other side and it feels really scary. And the Sacred Unity card is telling you that you are supported, that this is something that is fated, that if you are being pushed, it is for a reason. And if there is an acceleration of some kind of timeline for some of you, that you can embrace this change or embrace this acceleration without worry. I mean, obviously that's easier said than done, but there is this message here of don't resist the fall or the leap or the roller coaster. Ride it. Put your hands up. It depends on the situation. Obviously, if someone's sick in your family, you're not gonna be like, woo. But there is some element here of I'm totally accepting what's happening versus I'm resisting this change. I don't want to admit that it's happening. I don't want to look at it. There is definitely a difference in those types of moods and perspectives. And I think that that's what this is asking you to do, is embrace the change. We have 8 of Cups upright, Justice in reverse, 5 of Wands. So it's interesting because I always get similar kinds of feelings from 5 of Wands and 5 of Swords, somewhat similar. And so there is this, like, again, this recurring 5 theme, and 5 is known as, tension. It gives me this kind of Mars type of energy where it's a catalyst for change, and it can feel, like it creates tension within us to create that change. And with the 8 of Cups, there's something that you probably are going to end up deciding to walk away from in order for you to become this person that you are meant to become, in order to make this necessary change. And you might decide to, like, literally travel somewhere or move somewhere else. You might decide to study something else. It doesn't have to be so major. And if it's not impacting your birth chart, by degree, you're not going to even get any of this potentially. So the 8 of Cups is really telling you that you're leaving behind your old self, the safety of the shores, and you're taking some kind of leap. You're abandoning ship of something in your life, especially if that thing has felt like it's unfair or imbalanced and has led to unnecessary conflict, whether this be, conflict of interest with, you have one opinion, another person has another, whether this is, that anxiety that I was talking about at the beginning, of like, okay, I have all these choices, you know, maybe I need to make a choice. That could be conflicting priorities. So whatever the conflict is, it could be in your own mind, it could be in your actual life, but there's something here that I feel like you were in a situation where it left you feeling conflicted, and it was also just dysregulating and imbalancing you, creating an imbalance within you, or there was a sense of like things being unfair or unjust. And I feel like that's why you're leaving. You're leaving whatever this is because you're realizing that that's going nowhere, essentially. So think about whatever it is in your life. Think about something that feels like it's not rewarding to you, or it's not creating balance, it's not creating well-being within you. It's actually creating chaos or dysfunction or conflict or internal conflict or conflict of interest, conflict of priorities. Think about whatever situation aligns with that in your life. This is where you're needing to make some kind of leap of faith, abandon ship, leave that thing behind, or transition into some kind of, no, leave it. I wouldn't just say transition. I would say leave that state, leave that environment, leave that situation, and embrace the change that might be thrust upon you at this time. So that's what I'm seeing for you, my beautiful Taurus. I hope that this is resonating for you. If it does, please let me know in the comments down below what is happening in your life. I love to read all of your comments. If you want a reading from me, don't forget to check me out at cosmicclarityastrology.com. I am currently offering a few 2025 forecasts, and those will be first come, first serve. So if you're interested in having a rundown of month by month, I'll be pulling cards and obviously looking at your astrology. So if you want to kind of know what's ahead for you, for all those changes that are happening for you, then definitely check that out, which I'll link down below. Also give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Gemini rising and sun. So for you guys, this full moon in Taurus is happening on November 15th at 24 degrees of Taurus in your 12th house. And this is an interesting one because it is pretty much exactly, or almost exactly within a degree, conjunct Uranus. And if you watch the overview, you know that Uranus is a planet of change, of shock, of things being destabilized, and often unexpected. And within this, with this being in your 12th house, this could really feel like something comes out of nowhere. And you might find that it starts to like bring up some old thoughts or programs or feelings within you where, especially if there's, well, yeah, I'm arguing with myself in my head, but basically the 12th house can be the house of undoing, self-undoing. And so there could be something that comes up at the time of this full moon where you could be kind of put into a situation that gives you the potential to react in a way that you've reacted before, almost like from this trauma response or this like knee-jerk reaction that is subconscious and habitual. And this full moon will illustrate this so that you can, in many ways, I feel like, decide if that's still the same way you want to react. So it's going to bring up a situation that that has the potential to kind of mirror some elements of a past situation, or that reminds you of something, or that makes you feel a certain type of way that's familiar to you. And you have the potential to awaken to the fact that you're kind of continuing to go down a certain path in regards to what this is. Or with Venus being the ruler of this full moon in your 8th house in Capricorn, squaring the nodes. Or you could be at this crossroads like Venus is, where you're having to decide, actually, I'm going to have a new type of reaction to this situation. I'm not going to react from this emotional place, from this insecure place. I'm going to take the higher road. I'm going to be more measured in my approach. I'm going to try to be wise and not just react or jump straight into something or jump straight out of something. There's a sense of like, yeah, bringing awareness around our habitual kind of instinctual reaction to a situation. We start off with the Hierophant. Interesting. So one of the things, and this is not the typical message for the Hierophant, but one of the things that I'm getting from this card is this kind of severity or seriousness around her, as well as like I'm getting a very Saturn type of energy. Like I'm really in control of myself kind of thing. And it's interesting because your planetary ruler Mercury is currently in Sagittarius. It's opposite Jupiter, so it's getting a lot of influence from this kind of optimistic, big picture, Jupiterian type of thinking. But it's also being squared by Saturn, which brings in this kind of like stoicism or detachment, or not getting overly inflated by something, or not like jumping into something so hastily. It's like it's a very measured, grounded, slow, cautious, sometimes severe approach to things. And so I feel like you're getting a little bit of a taste of both of these. Like, do I want to jump straight into my reaction and like go overboard with that and not have to have it super tight and controlled? Or do I want to be embodying more of the Saturn energy, which is restricting the flow of something, being a lot more conscious around the way that things are, the way that we react, or the way that we spend money, or the way that we eat food. It's like I'm controlling it to make sure that I'm not just falling into a reactive pattern around something. So this Hierophant card, yeah, it feels very much like that. Also, the Hierophant can be about making something official as well. The Hierophant it adds legitimacy to something, which again has that Saturn energy. So you could be making something official, or making an important decision, or opening up about something and laying it all out. There's a sense of vulnerability that can come with the ruler of this full moon being in your 8th house. So there could be this kind of, yeah, bearing your heart, laying it out, being honest with yourself or with another person, getting like clearing things up, making important decisions, or solidifying something as a result of knowing how you feel about something. Those feels like two different kind of situations. Then after, we have the Chariot and the Page of Earth. So I feel like this is about you using your willpower to forge a new path. So maybe in the past, again, you would have had a certain type of reaction, or jumped straight into something, or had protective mechanisms up, to prevent you from being hurt by something or someone. It can look really different. But with this Chariot and the Page of Earth, it's like, okay, I want to create a new pathway. I want to solidify what I'm in. I want to make it official. I want to make it safe. I want to feel really good where I'm at. And so I need to make an important decision, or I need to approach this differently, in a more measured way. And that way, from this place, I will create this kind of, this very, like, again, this very conscious path, this conscious decision of like, I'm not just going to fall into something unintentionally. I am going to choose something in a measured way. And yeah. So let me pull a clarifier for this advice card that I have for you guys. And with your planetary ruler being in the 7th house, you guys might find that your focus is quite a bit on relationships right now, to a certain degree. But there is this element of like, does this fit long term with the square to Saturn? Like, does this make sense for me? If it does, how can I take a measured approach to this and get safety around this? That's not going to be the case for all of you, but this could also be like contract, like working with a job. Like, is this the right job or contract with me? Like, does this make sense long term? Those are questions you could be asking yourself as well. So clarifier for the salvation card. Okay, I'm just going to take this one. So yeah, your advice is salvation. I don't know. I feel like whatever is happening now, you are saving something, or you're saving yourself from something. And you're creating kind of this like potential for a win-win outcome, or for greater stability and happiness for yourself. There's something going on right now that if events transpire that seem like out of nowhere, or that kick up these old kinds of reactions within you, it's doing this to forge a new path to, again, I just keep thinking of the word measured, being measured in your approach. And that is going to create this new pathway, even a neural pathway, for your brain to start thinking about this situation or this type of thing differently. And that is going to be your saving grace. It is going to lead you to the thing that you're wanting. So you are saving yourself in a way of like, I am going to save myself from that heartache by making this kind of different choice. That's how I see this with the salvation card. The Four of Wands was the clarifier, and that to me is like the happy outcome that you get as a result of saving yourself, and not just yourself, but I think that Spirit can really come in and support you right now with this being in your 12th house. I feel like you're being protected from a negative from the worst possible outcome, or a future negative outcome, or what could have happened that would have been more destructive. For example, there's a sense of like saving and protection and things having a positive outcome in the future. So that's what I'm saying for you, Gemini. If that makes sense for you, I would really love to hear from you in the comments down below. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share with your friends. If you want a reading from me, I'm now offering 2025 forecasts. This is first come, first serve, because I am quite busy lately. So if you're interested in that, I go through month by month. I pull cards, I look at the astrology, and it's a long, nice, heavy reading, so that you can, not heavy in a negative way, but dense. So you can take that with you. You can consult, what is happening each month, what cards or animals that will guide you that month. And it's very, very helpful, especially once there's like an opportune time for something, or maybe something negative is happening and you want support and you want to know why it's happening. This is the best reading from that. And it's one of my most helpful readings that I have. So definitely check that out in the description box down below. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, and next we have Cancer rising and sun. So this full moon in Taurus that's happening on November 15th is taking place in your 11th house of friendships and long-term goals. This is a little bit of a chaotic full moon because Uranus is pretty much exactly conjunct the moon, which does represent some volatility and some potential for change. So for you guys, you might notice that the people in your life are acting a little bit differently, or your social situations, or kind of where you see yourself headed in life, all those things can start to take on this kind of unexpected and dynamic quality to it. This is a time in which you might find that people are a little bit more helpful than usual if you want them to be, especially if you're trying to get unstuck from a situation or out of something that might feel like a little bit claustrophobic or redundant or old for you. Uranus is all about innovation. It's about breakthroughs. It's about what's new. And with this being in your 11th house, you might find that you get somebody who can come down from the ladder and pull you up a rung and help you get out of a situation or get unstuck or see a different way out, a different way forward. So if you are feeling like you're ready to initiate some kind of brand new path for yourself, and you're kind of dipping the toe in, or you're curious about taking a step forward on something, this full moon is really encouraging you guys to seek out community support, guidance, mentorship, anything that, especially from people who live in your area, or if you're wanting to move, who live in that area that you're wanting to move to, or people who have done this thing before, or who have come from a similar background as you. So there's a sense of finding someone like you to lead you, someone who's just a step step ahead of you to help lead you on whatever this is. I just pulled the King of Swords as I was talking about that. So this could be an air sign. This could be a man. Doesn't have to be, but there could be guidance that you would benefit from, you know, taking it from somebody like that. Any last card, Spirit? So I pulled the Page of Earth. Interesting. Yeah. Page of Earth, which is Page of Pentacles, Page of Cups, King of Swords, and then the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So this card ending the reading definitely gives me the vibe of, yeah, like you might have some kind of long-standing tradition of something in your life. You might have roots somewhere. You might have, yeah, like a community that surrounds you. There's something of like, oh, I've invested a lot into this, a lot of time into this, whatever this is. This could be a project that you've been working on for a long time. There's something about this where you've been working on something, or you've been a part of something. Maybe you've been a part of a friend or community group. And this is saying that you're ready to make a change. That whatever this is, it's going to make you feel stuck. So think about whatever area of your life you feel stuck in. And like a very old, stagnant energy. This Seven of Pentacles in reverse is telling me that you are ready to divest or take your investment somewhere else. Remove it from that place that you've been putting the energy into. And I can see that also with the Page of Cups and Page of Pentacles is this new path emerging. And it's something that aligns with you on an emotional level, but also on a physical level. But it's something that feels more of like a dream, or maybe not a dream, but it's something that doesn't exist fully in your life yet. It feels off in the distance. It might feel somewhat unattainable. It might feel like you have a long journey ahead if you make that move, or it's going to be like a big change in your life if this is the path that you go down. But you can see with your kind of your third eye, like you can see how this might work out for you. You can feel how this might emotionally be fulfilling for you. Even though you're not in that situation fully yet, you're able to kind of get a sense of this being a really prosperous type of path. And with the King of Swords, again, I really feel like this is you needing to take some kind of logical advice from somebody. So this is somebody who has been there before, or somebody who doesn't have an emotional investment in this situation. Somebody who is unbiased, somebody who can give you like really sound judgment, and you can talk this out with that person. So let's say like you've always wanted to move, but you live with your family. You wouldn't talk to your family about this because your family is going to try to influence you in some type of way or another from an emotional bias. And so you would want to talk to maybe a therapist, or, a friend who lives in another country who doesn't have any, say in this, because it's not going to influence them. So there's something here around taking an objective perspective about something and integrating that into your life in order to make an important decision to change something that you feel stuck in. And objectivity is super key because Uranus is all about objectivity. And you currently have Venus, which is the ruler of this full moon, in your 7th house in Capricorn, squaring the nodes in your 4th and 10th house axis. So this could have to deal with relationships, with career moves, with your home and where you live, or your family and your history. This could involve all those things. And you might need to make some really important and fated decisions around the kinds of people that you're going to be around these next however many years. And that's why I'm like, I think you need to seek counsel from somebody outside of these groups that have interest in this, and really be able to talk this out and think about like the pros and the cons. Let's say I don't know, it's just gonna look different for everybody, but let's say you're part of this book club. This is kind of a silly example. But then you're like, actually, I've been in this book club for 10 years or 5 years, and I just feel like, I'm not getting a lot of new growth or stimulation through the books or these conversations that I'm having, because it's it's like I've been there and I've done that. So there's something about this full moon where it's trying to create a breakthrough or a break out of something, out of stagnant energy. And so maybe you go and you search online and find different kinds of groups, and you talk to different kinds of people who have their own groups, and then you decide to join one of them, and it kind of changes your friendships, it changes the way that you spend your time, and you notice that from that kind of revived place, you have just, I feel like a lot more excitement, but like a lot more like life. Like there's life waiting for you outside of this stagnant energy, whatever this is. Advice for my Cancer spirit. Ooh, this flew out. The Sun. For some of you guys, this is about your career, your purpose, your sense of direction, your goals in life. And you might need, again, an objective perspective from someone outside of you, because you can never be fully objective with yourself. From someone outside of you who can look at all of the facts and the figures and the numbers and help you decide what is the best next move for you, because you're, again, kind of stagnant in whatever this is, and it's time to revive you. It's time to get out there, to shine, to do something fulfilling for you that has the potential for stability, that has the potential for wealth, or whatever it is that you're looking for. So the Sun is you moving towards something that gives you hope, optimism, faith, excitement, confidence, that feels like an expression of who you are and your natural essence. The Sun is something that shines so bright. So what do you feel like you naturally shine in, or naturally talented at, or naturally gravitate towards? That is your advice, is to move towards what that is. Be willing to get unstuck. Listen to objective advice from a factual source, and don't be afraid to get out of whatever the stagnant energy is, because it's going to put you on a much brighter path. If this, it's just a start, but if you believe that you can have this, you totally can. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Cancer. If you enjoy this, please don't forget to comment down below around how this resonates with your situation. I love to read your comments. If you want a 2025 forecast from me, I am offering a limited number of them at cosmicclarityastrology.com. So you can find that in the description box down below. We will go through month by month and look at what all the astrology says, and I'll also pull cards. And this takes me a super long time to prepare, which is why I'm only offering a limited number. So first come, first serve. And please don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, like this video, and have a beautiful day. Thanks. Bye. All right, up next we have Leo rising and sun. This Taurus full moon happening on November 15th is taking place in your 10th house of career. And it is pretty much exactly conjunct Uranus. It's pretty close. And what that means is that there is some kind of change or volatility coming in with this full moon. And for you, this could very much influence your goals or your sense of direction, or very strongly your relationships with authority figures. So this is going to look different for everybody, of course. But let's say you already have a job and you feel satisfied with that job. This could create some kind of shakeup in the way that people see you. So maybe your boss, Uranus is super volatile in the sense that you don't know where it's going to land. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? We don't know. And so this could look like your boss seeing you through a new light and you getting a promotion because they're starting to value you differently. This could be your boss being a bitch and just getting in your way and frustrating you, and then creating discord or dysfunction within the workplace. This could be you gaining a lot of clarity, especially with this involving Uranus, around what authentically you feel moved to pursue in your life and in your career. So especially because the first card I pulled is the Nine of Cups, there's something here that is going to help you get in touch with what it is that you really, really wish for, that you really, really desire. So if there are elements of your current trajectory in life, your current career path, or your current job that doesn't actually fulfill you, I can see you starting to see that contrast now at this full moon, or starting to pick up on where would it feel exciting to go next, especially with the Six of Wands. And this particular card is so beautiful. I mean, this whole deck is so beautiful, but I love this card because it has this boat and a hot air balloon all in one. And it feels like you guys are going somewhere with this, right? And you're not you have multiple options. You can travel by air and you can travel by sea. So there's a sense of you guys kind of going on a journey here, or realizing something is going to, like, there's something else out there for you, or there's a change on the horizon that's very exciting for you, or you thinking about what would really bring you that happiness, and you're starting to think about, how can I take steps to go to this new path, to this how can I also up level in a way, because Six of Wands is a card of visibility, and if you're rising into the sky, you become visible by everyone beneath you. So not only are you able to traverse things more easily and move to new directions, but you're also being witnessed in that process as well, in gaining some kind of reputation. Or for some of you, maybe it's gaining clarity on what you want to be in terms of your reputation. Like, I want to be a doctor, right? I want people to see that. I want that to be my career path. So there's something here where it's like, some of you guys could be getting a wish fulfillment, and some of you guys could be getting clarity on what isn't working so that you can fulfill those wishes. And the ruler of this moon, Venus, is in your 6th house of work and day-to-day responsibilities, and it's squaring your nodes in the 3rd and 9th house axis. So wherever Venus is, it's having us have to make some kind of choice or decision here. So this could have to deal with, like, how do you collaborate with other people? What kind of jobs do you pursue? How do you organize and create like the levels of responsibility, like who is responsible for what, when. So there could be some choices around how you are managing things when it comes to your role, when it comes to teamwork, when it comes to the jobs that you are applying for or working in, that there's something in that you need to make a decision that will help you align with your highest possible outcome, rather than maybe falling back into an old pattern. This gives me the vibe of, like, I'm getting a promotion and I have to, like, behave differently now. Like, I'm stepping into a new role. I'm being seen in a new light. And because of that, I also need to behave in a different type of way as well, and take the highest road, the highest outcome, be seen as a leader, work really well with people, showing them that they made the right decision in promoting me. That's just an example. But there's something here where it's like, yeah, I'm going to organize my life differently, or work with others differently, or apply to different types of jobs in order to gain some kind of recognition or achieve some kind of dream that I'm looking for. And this is the energy of a breakthrough, so I definitely think it's possible. Anything else, Spirit, around? Too many cards at once. I'll take these. So we have the Four of Swords in reverse, and then the King of Wands. So I think you guys are coming out of a time of inaction, or feeling like you were in a stalemate or stagnant. This is shaking things up in your career. Things are getting moving. You're connecting to your purpose, to your passion, to your sense of leadership, to your authority, your agency. You might be feeling inspired again. This is like getting you off of your feet. Let's go. Let's get moving. Let's get cracking. Let's think about things and put them into action, not just sit in the mind and the evaluation of things. No, let's get the ball rolling, right, around whatever the situation is. So let's say you're currently jobless. This could be, and you've been maybe jobless for a few months or a few weeks. This could be you finally feeling like, okay, now I know what I want. Now I have an inkling of what this direction is. I'm going to actually apply to jobs. I'm going to go to interviews. I'm going to work on my resume. And I'm not just going to, like, hope and pray that it all works out. I'm going to take initiative. Maybe I'll show up with my resume in hand, or maybe I will take another class to make myself look better. And it's like getting ahead of things, getting up, getting moving. Any advice, Spirit, here for my Leos? So we have humor in reverse. So upright, I feel like this is talking about not taking things so seriously. With it in reverse, I feel like it's saying it's like it's time to take things seriously. It's time to get things moving in your life in a way that feels like it's progressing you forward on your path. The 10th house can also be linked with, like, getting married. So if you've been in a relationship with someone for a really long time, it's like, let's finally commit to this person. Let's finally make it legitimate. Or let's finally I don't know, take something that we have been like doing in secret behind the scenes and put it out there for the world to see and get recognition. Let's finally take ourselves seriously as a leader and believe in our impact. There's something here where it's like, this isn't a joke anymore. I'm legit. I am good. Look at how good I am. I can take myself seriously with this, and so can you. And there's a reason why I'm promoted. There's a reason why I'm visible. There's a reason why I'm passionate about this and I'm excited about this path, because this is legit and this is serious and I have what it takes. That's the kind of vibe of this full moon for you, my beautiful Leo. So, excuse me. I am curious how this is going to manifest for you. You know, it might not be super positive for all of you. This does look really positive in the cards. Uranus does have this volatile quality, so could be ups and downs for some of you. But I think because the cards are so positive, it's very much leading to a positive sense of direction, which if you haven't watched the overview, check that out, because I really iterate that about this being something that's kind of pushing you along your fated path within your career and in your life goals. So if this makes sense for you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. I really love to read your comments and how it's playing out in your life. If you want a reading from me, I am offering 2025 forecasts to a limited number of people. First come, first serve, because it does take me a very long time to sit and go through all of your transits and pull cards, and month by month we will look at everything together, which is super fun and very, very helpful. So if you're wanting that, you can check that out in the description box down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Virgo rising and sun. So for you guys, this Taurus full moon happening on November 15th is taking place in your 9th house of beliefs, of religion, of foreign travel, learning, study, prophecy. So you guys might notice that those areas of your life have some kind of zest and like stimulating energy in them. Uranus is almost exactly conjunct this moon. It's very, very close. And Uranus brings an unexpected quality. It also rules over electricity, so it literally tends to like energize something and stimulate something. So you guys at this time, with this being in your 9th house, might feel like you are getting downloads that can often happen with the 9th house involved, where you are getting some kind of like prophetic vision, sometimes a dream. That's more the 12th house, or just this kind of knowing like, yes, this is the direction, this is the clarity, or this is what I want to break free from. I can very clearly see the confines of my own mind and my own limiting beliefs, and I'm ready to break free from that. I really see Uranus as the person liberating you from some kind of cage, or your mind being in a cage, and Uranus comes in here and uses its electric jolt to open up the door of that prison cell and let yourself out in some kind of way. And it's funny because one of the first things I pulled is the King of Swords. And this is very much somebody who is in 110% control over their mind, in the essence of they have like full faculties of the mind. So this is somebody who knows how to communicate well. This is somebody who knows how to learn efficiently and thoroughly. This is somebody who knows how to teach. This is somebody who understands things, who can look at things from a balanced and logical perspective. I think you guys are meant to be tapping into this archetype of this objective and wise type of leader, essentially, that's within your own essence right now, with Uranus being on the moon in the 9th. And you are meant to be gaining some kind of clarity or breaking free from something that you were confined in mentally, like a mental stuckness. So yeah, I definitely see that with the moon being in reverse. The moon upright is all about not seeing what's happening, but in reverse, it's illumination of what was once unclear. So you guys could be having these important epiphanies or realizations, or something could be shifting for you in your external reality that brings about a new way of thinking about things, that gets you out of like an outdated mode of thinking, or that helps kind of reset you in a necessary way so that you feel like you know where you're going. That's what the ninth house is. It's all about what is the future. And the ninth, the 10th, and 11th house all combined is like, where am I headed? Where am I going? What is my impact on the world? And with Uranus here, you have to have this awakening process happen, this clarity, to feel or to know that you are on the right path. And this could involve changing your path, but for many of you, I don't think it's so much changing your path. I think for many of you, it's changing your perspective of your path. And I guess it's going to be different. It's going to depend on what other stuff is going on in your chart. But there's something here where it's like, it's not just, this feels very very, very mental and less physical in certain ways. So mental in the sense that I'm making a decision, or I'm radical acceptance. I'm accepting something for what it is. I'm releasing resistance around something. I'm owning all of who I am around something. I have clarity around what I want or where I'm going with something. I'm learning something new so that I can mentally get into a even better place. So there's something here, it's like your mind is shifting. I don't feel like it's something in your material reality for most of you, at least. And so there's something here where it's like you might need to come into a radical acceptance with this card, especially of where you are at, because you are ruled by Mercury, and Mercury right now is being squared by Saturn in the 7th house. So there could be particular challenges or delays, especially around either contracts within work or relationships, where you might feel like I'm behind, I'm delayed, things aren't what I want them to be. It can create this sense of like dissatisfaction as well, of again, just I don't have what I want yet. And so this radical acceptance card is you really having to completely own exactly who you are and where you're at with whatever it is in your life. If a relationship is frustrating you or disappointing you, if you're not in a relationship and you're wanting one, it's like, how can I more fully own whatever this is? That doesn't have to be like what this is focused on, but that is a potential, especially because Venus, the ruler of this full moon, is in your 5th house. So this could very much be centered around children. It could be centered around your love life, because the 5th house is about those things. It could be centered around your business or your creative life, your sexual expression. It's going to look different for all of you. But there's something that you need to like own where you're at right now, accept where you're at, and shift your perspective in a way that is going to get you out of this feeling of being blocked or limited or frustrated. I feel like you're in this prison cell and you're like fighting against it, but really you just need to, like, you don't realize that you're in a dream and that you could just change the dream and poof, the cell goes away, right? It's like everything is self-imposed, self-created. Yeah. We also have the Judgment, which is called the Call, and then the Knight of Wands. So there's something that I feel like you guys are literally called to do. And I think you are going to have the awakening or the awareness of this at this time. So again, you might not have a lot shifting in your physical reality, but I think you're having clarity on where you are being called to act in the future, on what is coming up for you, on what's next for you. And you might need to make an important decision around what that path looks like. And I feel like you guys are going to do that. And once you make that decision, it's like things start moving really, really fast. You fall down this path and you really tumble and you're like going. You have all this momentum because of this, this decline, for example, and not fall in a negative way, but it's like, I think it's going to kind of take over your life. I think it's going to happen really fast. And And I have this feeling that it hasn't started yet. You haven't made the decision yet, or that you don't know what that step is yet. Whatever it is, it's like once the clarity is going to come, and once you make that decision, then it's going to be moving really, really fast. But it feels like there's a pause between these two things. Like you have clarity, you make the decision, pause, and then things happen really, really fast. Something like that. So I'd be curious if that timeline actually does make sense for you guys. So yeah, it's time to get very mentally unstuck, for you to see what the future holds for you in a positive light, to also look at things objectively, because we did pull the King of Swords and we do have Uranus involved here. So looking at things very objectively, like what actually makes sense here, and learning how to embrace with radical acceptance the things, like the confines of our reality, the confines of our situation, and working with them in the best possible way to get the desired results that can bring you this sense of fulfillment and happiness. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Again, this could potentially be related to all those things that I mentioned, with Venus being in the 5th house. And there could be some stuff here around, finances or independence versus codependence. There's a lot of planets involved in this, so I don't want to get super specific about what this is going to manifest in. But that's what I see for you. If this does manifest for something specific for you and you would like to share that down below, I really appreciate that. That always helps me in my practice. And I just enjoy reading your comments. If you want a 2025 forecast, you can check that out down below. We will go through month by month your astrology, pull some cards to see what is coming up for you, answer all your questions. That's first come, first serve. Don't forget. And if you want to support my channel, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, and next we have Libra rising and sun. So this full moon in Taurus happening on November 15th is taking place in your 8th house. And this is a more significant time for you because your planetary ruler, Venus, shares dominion over Libra and Taurus. And Venus right now is in this really important placement in your 4th house. And it's squaring the nodes in your 1st and 7th house. So there is some kind of decision that you are needing to make, some kind of crossroads that you are at as a Libra rising, where it's involving your home or your family or your place of living, or it could be influenced by those things, like by your history, by your family, your lineage. So it's a decision that is directly involving it or influenced by it. And you're going to have to choose between your old way of doing things and your new way of doing things. And the new way, with the North Node in Aries in the 7th, is all about doing things together. So, it's interesting because it's about doing things together, but in an Aries way. So it's like, yes, we're needing to make some kind of decision that really suits you as an individual, but that decision isn't being made alone. That decision doesn't impact just you. So there's something here where it's like, if you have a previous pattern in regards to how you make decisions as a couple or in your life, even if you're single, it doesn't matter. If you're used to always consulting your family or asking what everybody else thinks, this juxtaposition of Venus squaring the nodes could be you needing to decide something on your own for the first time, or more selfishly, but still, still there's this togetherness, obviously, because if you're Libra rising, North Node is in your 7th. But it's almost like what's good for me is good for you and good for us. So for some of you, that might be part of what this is. If you guys have had a different pattern in regards to the way that you make decisions around where you live or what to do with your house or what to do with your family, or again, something that's influenced by your family, you might, it's wise to go against unhealthy patterning, because you are going to have that habitual thing reappear for you to potentially enact again, maybe people pleasing, deferring to what others think, doubting yourself, gaslighting yourself, whatever that is. Or you have the chance to kind of start a new path and explore different ways of thinking, different ways of communicating, different ways of making decisions that are more empowering. So there's something very important here for my Libras, and you should really pay attention to the events and circumstances right now and how they may feel familiar. So let's say this isn't even something habitual within you. Let's say it's in your ancestry with Venus in the 4th if you're a Libra rising. You might find that your family has always done things a certain way. Like whenever they get married, they would always share finances. This is just a random example. And then maybe you decide that you want to do it differently. And you have to trust your own instincts about what this is. You're going against something that has been long-standing, that has been in your past, again, that your family has done, or something of this nature. And you're having to make your own way or decide something, again, different about the situation. So I have the Hangman and the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So with the Hangman, there might be something that you guys have been stalling on. Like not wanting to make a decision about something. Yeah. This doesn't, yeah. Or you're suspended in an in-between. Maybe it's not time to make the decision with something yet. But yeah, the Hangman is somebody who is realizing a lot of things, is looking at life through new eyes and needing to make decisions based off of these new realizations, or especially around how they feel about something. But they haven't actually made those decisions yet. They haven't made those changes yet. They're in this like stasis. And yeah, this is a full moon in your 8th house. So the 8th house is a highly psychic house, a highly intuitive house. And so you guys might be like picking up on something that was hidden with this illusion card in reverse, like something that you didn't see before, or it wasn't like very clearly discussed. So you might, if you have instincts right now around something, but there isn't very clear evidence for what you're feeling, trust what you're feeling. With the Two of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like there needs to be some kind of change in your priorities somehow. But I feel like with the Hangman, you might pause before making that decision, or you're going through a process of kind of clarifying or discovering or awakening to something in order to shift your priorities in a way that is going to reflect what you intuitively feel is right, even though, again, you might not know exactly why you're deciding something with this High Priestess card. So it's like, it could be really small. It could be, I just have this feeling that I should be starting to eat these kinds of foods right now, or creating this new schedule for myself, or saving a little bit more money. I don't know why, but I just have this instinct that I'm supposed to be doing this thing. And I feel like it's preparing you for something with the Sun card. It's preparing you for some kind of, like, the Sun will come out, the High Priestess, and then the Sun. So the High Priestess is a card of not knowing, but trusting. And then the Sun is clearly seeing something. So I feel like you're going to come from not knowing something to illuminating, and you're going to be like, that was why. because X, Y, and Z happened, or because I now desire to do this. So this could also represent that crossroads as well. This could be intertwined with that experience of being at a crossroads with something. With knowledge in reverse, I feel like there's something that you don't know right now. There's something that you can't see, that you don't know, but you know it inside. Like your brain doesn't know it. The brain doesn't see it, but you know it in your heart. And you're needing to shift your priorities to reflect what your heart is telling you is coming that you can't see yet. And it's going to be clear later why this was important. And I feel like this 8th house is just this kind of psychic, again, the psychic energy. And it's a house that I feel like can be very protective or very concerned with our protection and our safety. So I feel like this situation, whatever this is, that's calling you to shift priorities in some kind of way is, or even maybe taking less on, or slowing down, or doing something to nurture yourself or choose yourself. There's something here with that. And it's like, whatever this is, it's ultimately trying to protect you and create this kind of like cocoon for you, so that when this thing comes to light, you realize that you have what you need, you're prepared, you are safe, you were ready for this because you listened to your instinct around the situation. So yeah, that feels a little vague, but hopefully that makes sense for whatever situation you're going through, my Libras. If it does, I would love to hear your comments down below. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you want a 2025 forecast, there's a limited number available, which I will link in the description box down below. I will go through month by month, look at all your astrology, pull some cards, and we'll talk at length around what is coming up for you in the year ahead. So if you're excited for 2025 and all the really major changes happening with these outer planet changes, changing signs, then definitely book that before somebody else does, and then they're all sold out. So I hope to see you guys there, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Scorpio, Sun, and Rising. This Taurus full moon happening on November 15th is taking place in your 7th house of relationships. And it is pretty closely conjunct Uranus at this time, which does bring in an unexpected quality to our relationships. This could indicate that people are acting in erratic types of ways, that there are unexpected developments in our relationships, or that we have some kind of breakthrough, clarity, insight, awakening around what it is that we need or want when it comes to people in our life, or the way that we partner up with people to make certain things happen. You guys, interesting. So the ruler of this moon is Venus, and Venus is in your 3rd house right now, and it's squaring your nodes in your 12th and 6th house axis. So whenever the ruler of the moon squares the nodes, or really any planet squares the nodes, but especially the ruler of this moon is going to be more significant. We are at this kind of impasse or crossroads where we get to make a choice. Do we want to go towards kind of a new way of behaving, a new path, or do we want to fall back in line with something that's redundant and familiar? And it's interesting because Venus in the 3rd reminds me a lot of this 3 of Wands. They both have obviously the shared number 3. And 3, or the 3rd house, is about communication. It's about our decision-making process, our mindset around something. But the 3rd house is also where we are very active. It's a very dynamic and changeable house. The 3 of Wands is a very dynamic card. It is about somebody who is on the go, who is searching for something. And I feel like there is some kind of, there's searching here for, I feel like, an inner clarity or a truth with this Hermit card. Yes, I think that you guys are looking for something. You're looking for your own truth about something. And you may need to go somewhere to actually stimulate this. So it's like going to a cottage in the woods and taking a week off to just write and journal and walk and reflect. You might not want to do that now that we're entering winter. But there's something about that where it's like, I got to get out and I got to walk and I have to think. I got to move my body. to understand, especially like where you've been maybe a little bit more moody or emotionally biased or easily influenced, or yeah, I feel like you're trying to get your head and your heart kind of straightened out right now, especially when it comes to people in your life or how you feel about your relationships. Some of you guys have the potential with the Three of Wands to go to kind of a new place. So this could look like traveling to new territory in a current relationship, or meeting a different kind of person, or going internally to new places within yourself, getting to know yourself in new ways so that you can understand your own heart in regards to relationships a lot better. So there's something here where it's like, I feel like you're really needing to get to know yourself on a deeper level, either through the vehicle of partnership or through yourself. And we got the Page of Wands in reverse. So I feel like there's something here in regards to passion and inspiration and feeling, hopeful about something. And these are the cards that are coming in reverse. So this might not be talking about relationships for all of you. And I think that's why I'm having some hesitation, even though this is an eclipse or a full moon in the 7th, which is very much around other people. That might not be the case. That might not be the primary focus for everybody. So there's something here. I feel like you guys are going on some kind of inward journey and needing to get your head and your heart straight, like I mentioned, get things really cleared up, because I feel like you've had some kind of block in that area. Maybe you felt like you're a creative block, or uninspired, or disconnected from your purpose or from your relationship with somebody. Or maybe the relationship is trying to progress and you're having to, in order for that to happen, you have to I don't know. It's like, yeah, there is some process of needing to let something go, maybe with this energy here. If there is some kind of block, like let's say, for example, you want to progress a relationship that you're with, but then you feel like there is something missing, or like sexually you haven't been compatible, or maybe you feel like you're on a different career page. It's like there's something that I feel like you guys are having to like work through and rebirth the situation with this rebirth card. Yeah, like you need some kind of change. You need to shake things up in the area of your relationships. Potentially relationships, doesn't just have to be relationships, but it's like if there has been something dull, if there's been something disconnected, if you've been somehow like losing inspiration about something, or if you've been willing to like have something missing or like sacrifice something for another thing, I feel like this full moon you're going to realize exactly what you need. That maybe I don't need to have a good sex life. If the person's really great, why, I could just be with them. Like, what's the big deal? But then I feel like at this full moon, you could have this kind of realization of, oh no, that is a big deal. I couldn't just, like, I'm journeying on into my heart, and I'm seeing how I want to progress the relationship, progress my life. Maybe I need to do something about this situation somehow to create, like, to reconnect things, to bring it back to life, to create excitement around something again, or newness around something, or be ready to evolve in some kind of way, especially if it involves other people or the way that you are with other people. And I think a lot of that comes from, again, like movement. Like, let's go out and try this new hobby. Let's go on this date together. Let's go meet new people. Let's go like put ourselves out there, or talk about different things, or think about different things, or learn about different things. There's a sense of like getting yourself out there to understand yourself on a really more intimate level, so that if there is something that has been emotionally blocked, or somehow creatively stuck, or sexually stuck, then by doing this, like by doing these new things, you kind of stimulate that and are reborn and are trying a new approach to things. If you have this like really set mindset, I can see you like getting out of that mindset and experimenting and being like, oh, I could try to date this kind of person, or I could try to do this type of thing. And it gets you like out of that, again, uninspired type of energy, and reconnects you to the inner flame around your relationship dynamics. So yeah, your advice is to allow yourself to go through a rebirth, allow yourself to experiment, to bring in this new energy, to self-reflect deeply, and to try new things in order to become more self-aware around what it is that works for you and what doesn't. You're only going to know by trying, by experimenting, and putting yourself out there. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Scorpio. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video, comment, and subscribe. If you want a 2025 forecast, I will have a few of those available in the description box down below. A great reading. We will go through month by month all of the astrology forecasts, pull some tarot or whatever other cards you want to use, and discuss it at length. So if you want to get that, jump on it before it's gone. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Sagittarius rising and sun. This Taurus full moon happening on November 15th is taking place in your 6th house. And this is a chaotic full moon because it is conjunct Uranus. So the 6th house is the house of health, as well as the house of our responsibilities in our workplace. So you guys might find that these areas are a little bit more shaken up for you. So it's possible that you could have some random thing happen to you physically that, again, changes your health, or you might decide that you really want to shake up the way that you are eating or exercising or something of that nature. You might find that things at work are a bit chaotic, so they might be super, super busy, or really busy one second and really stagnant the next. Or you might have some kind of interesting things go on in regards to your dynamics with other people at work. So maybe there is some internal chaos or conflict of some sort. But there's some energy here of dysfunction. And if this is talking about your workplace, this is things like, oh, you know, wires getting crossed, missing that email, things being done incorrectly, or people, just things that are often unexpected and somewhat, again, chaotic or dysfunctional in nature can occur. And ultimately, Uranus is about shaking things up so that we can get out of like stuck energy, stuck routine, so that we can move towards something that feels a little bit freer, a little bit lighter, that feels more aligned with who we are as people. So it could be helpful if there is some kind of chaotic energy going on. It could be helpful to think about what is this trying to teach me or show me about like a way that I could maybe alter my day-to-day life in my work or in my health to reflect who I am today. Because oftentimes, I mean, we're always changing. So oftentimes we have to stop and reflect on what our new needs are. Maybe you have different needs or different priorities or different work schedule, and you need to kind of change up your priorities or your goals in order for you to update your life according to your new needs. So again, if there's dysfunction or a monkey wrench thrown into the normal flow of your day-to-day life, it's likely here to point out where you can make some alterations to actually make that day-to-day life suit you better with where you're going next or with who you are right now. Your planetary ruler, Jupiter, is opposite Mercury, and it's in this square to to Saturn. It's kind of a wide orb, so you might not really be feeling it that much. But yeah, you're having your planetary ruler with opposite Mercury, there might be a lot going on. And that is just the general kind of energy of a Uranus transit. It's just very disruptive. Like, we randomly get sick, or we have a lot more tasks, or things just pop up that kind of make it hard to keep a schedule or keep a plan. So you might find that at this time that's what's going on. Spirit, what messages do you want for my Sagittarius? Okay, so I pulled the Five of Cups, the Two of Swords, and then the Death card, the Transformation card. So the Five of Cups and the Two of Swords, this is showing where you are going to have some sense of dissatisfaction. The Five of Cups is feeling disappointed with something. And with Venus in your second house, squaring the nodes, there may be something in regards to your material reality, your finances, like how much money you're making from your work, or your material reality and how you are managing your resources or your time or the work that you're doing somehow. There might be something about that you feel like you are not really totally on board with how it's going, and you want to make some kind of change with the Two of Swords here. Maybe you want to charge more. Maybe you want to take more time off but still make the same amount of money. There's something here, it's like, I'm not totally satisfied. I'm not getting what I need out of my current work kind of circumstances. If this is about health, this could be a lot around your food. So I'm not getting the nutrients that I need, and I need to make a decision to change the way that I'm eating. So this is either physical on a monetary level, work level, or this is physical on a kind of bodily food level, and prioritizing how you're managing your health. So there's something here. It's like, okay, I'm seeing this, there's dysfunction. It's showing me what's not working. It's showing me where I'm not feeling like I'm totally meeting my needs or getting what I want, especially financially or health-wise. And from there, I'm able to make the necessary changes. So that might indicate some type of ending, detaching from some kind of outcome or some kind of way that you've always done things. The transformation it's pretty straightforward. There's something that's desiring to be transformed in your life. Let's look at the advice that Spirit has around this. So what's the advice on how to go about this transformation for Sagittarius? Advice for Sagittarius on this transformation that they're going through. So we have liberation and salvation. So it's weird because all these advice cards keep coming out in reverse. So first of all, the salvation in reverse, I feel like what this card is trying to tell you is to not wait for somebody to do this for you. The salvation is like, you are going to make this change. You are going to make this happen. This is a time of taking ownership over this, over your health, over your finances, over the outcomes, and not just like expecting or hoping that somebody decides to help you or do it for you. So it's like, I'm not just going to expect, that my boss is going to give me a raise. I'm going to go out and, ask for that, or I'm going to learn some new skills or get another little side gig, and I'm going to make more money because I'm not just going to sit here and wait for someone to give that to me. I'm going to take this power into my own hands. So salvation feels like agency to me. The liberation in reverse, I think, kind of paired with that. Like, I'm not waiting around for someone to open the door and let me out and to have what I want. Like, I'm going to make this happen for myself. I kind of want to read what this deck says around this card being in reverse before I move on. It's interesting because Uranus is a planet of liberation. So it's interesting for this card to come out in reverse. So, okay. When resentment and anger festers below the surface, the unprocessed emotions simmer until they boil over. It's easy to project anger, envy, and ancient rage on others we perceive as the source of our discontent, which is that Five of Cups. You might see somebody as being a problem here. When something triggers these emotions, we can project onto strangers as well as the people closest to us. Nobody wins when pain is unleashed in this way. Take heart, for you're not alone. Know that rage and fury must have a place to be expressed, and you can use this energy to make something extraordinary and find a new way. The fierce liberation goddess Kali offers her daggers to help you cut the ties to stories you tell about your past once you've expressed and processed them. No matter what your conditions, your alignment task is to find a way to channel this rage, anger, or feelings into creativity, make something of it and of yourself so that you don't self-destruct. Be willing to be teachable, even if it's uncomfortable. Be willing to take full accountability for the energy you bring into the world. Accountability, I think that's a big key theme here. Kali knows a dark force of love, and she brings, you will not always be comfortable, blah, blah, blah. The process of transformation requires rigorous self-honesty. You have what it takes. Now make something meaningful, something that you're proud of. Okay. Yeah, there is something here around the honest self-reflection, taking accountability, seeing where your part is in all of this. If you are dissatisfied with how much money you make, with your workplace, with where you're going in life, or something about your health or your work, you will notice that the more that you can take radical responsibility for this situation, the more that you will find that you are able to transform the situation. And it could involve other people. There could be people who are frustrating. There could be people who get in your way. There could be annoying people in the workplace. That is all true. But you also have the say over your life at the end of the day. Nobody is telling you that you have to do something and that you'll die if you don't do it. Maybe your doctor could say that. But yeah, there's something here where it's like you ultimately have the say, and that's empowering. And that's what this message is all about, is not just getting stuck on like, oh, well, I'm frustrated about this person, or this weird thing is happening at work and it's annoying and it's disruptive. It's, yes, that's happening, but what are you going to do about it? What choices are you going to make to transform the situation? Don't just get caught up in the feelings of the frustration and focus the energy out. Put the energy in so that you can then use that to go manifest a different result for yourself. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this is helpful for you. I hope that makes sense. If you want a reading from me, I'm offering 2025 forecasts. So they are first come, first serve, and I will go through with you month by month to look at all the major transits, as well as pulling cards, answering all of your questions. So if you're interested in having that astrological guidance from me, then definitely check out my readings, which I'll link down below. Don't forget to also comment on this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next I have Capricorn rising and sun. This full moon in Taurus happening on November 15th is taking place in your 5th house of children, of creativity, of self-expression, of love, of dating. 5th house is a lot of things. And this is an interesting full moon because it is pretty closely conjunct Uranus, almost exact. And that brings some kind of epiphany, awakening, breakthrough, potential for chaos, shock, dysfunction to occur in some area of our life, something that shakes us up. It's like having an earthquake. And actually just the other day I saw an earthquake underwater, and these people were scuba diving, and it just kicked up all the silt, all the sand, and they were obviously holding on for dear life because the water started moving like crazy. So there's something here where it's like, yeah, there's something here. It's trying to shake things up, but that might, since that image came to me, it might be something that involves your heart or your emotions as well, because of the scuba diving aspect of it. Okay, so let's see what cards we have for you. So if you have children, for example, or a creative project, or a romantic muse, or something that you're interested in, like there can be some unexpected revelations or outcomes in those areas, especially. If you have been, you know, fearful of your own light, of your own visibility, because the 5th house is a house of performance and being witnessed. If you are fearful of that in some kind of way, I could see this full moon helping you kind of become aware of any of those kind of limiting beliefs that you might have around that. Like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not talented enough. Or I don't want to be seen like that, or whatever it is. I can see you guys coming out of this. Yeah, I can see you coming out of this. So I pulled the Six of Wands and the Six of Swords. 2 sixes here for you guys. So the number 6 might be really important, or something might have happened on November 6th, or something might have happened back in June, but there's something in regards to 6 months, 6 people, the 6th day. That could be relevant for you. The 6 is also a lot around like our home and our family and our nurturing and numerology. And in astrology, the 6th house is related to like our work and our health and our fitness, and our just responsibilities in our day-to-day life. So those areas might be particularly affected during this full moon. This is a full moon again in the 5th and 11th house axis. So there's just potential for a lot of areas to be affected. But yeah, the 6 of Wands is interesting because we have this full moon in the 5th house. We have the 6 of Wands. 6 of Wands is a card of visibility, of recognition, of feeling like you are getting your accolades. And the 5th house is also very much about that. So you might notice that there's something here where if there is a block around that, it starts to melt somehow. And with the 6 of Swords, this is moving into calmer waters. So where you once felt like you weren't getting recognition, you are getting noticed. Where you once felt like you weren't good enough, you're feeling more confident. Where you were once afraid to be visible and to like put yourself out there and to ask for more or whatever, ask for a raise, you're now feeling like, yeah, hell yeah, I deserve this and I'm going to get this. So there's something here where it's like you were out there kind of like fighting for what you wanted, or defending for yourself, and then you're coming into this phase of feeling like, actually other people are saying that I deserve this. I don't even have to speak up. Like, I'm not that you shouldn't, but I don't know, there's just something here around things becoming calmer. If this is related to children, if you have children, if there's some kind of chaotic situation happening with them, I feel like you're going to get some kind of like justice here of your child like recognizing you as a good parent, or coming full circle and them being like calmer. So there's something here where it's like things start to feel appeased, things start to feel more relaxed, especially in regards to either 6th or 5th house topics, which I mentioned. Let's see what your advice is here. You are also at this crossroads because Venus, which is the ruler of this full moon, is in your 1st house in Capricorn, and it's squaring the nodes in your 4th and 10th house axis. So there is some kind of crossroads again that you're at, and ultimately I feel like there's some need to kind of like prioritize yourself, with Venus being in the 1st, making a decision that like builds up your self-worth or your finances or pours back into you in some way. And you might have old scenarios where you are really, really giving to other people, and you don't always ask to like have the light shine on you, or ask to receive everything back in return, or whatever. And I feel like you're transforming your relationship with your like deservedness. Is that a word? Your deservability, what you deserve. I feel like there's needs to be like a healthy sense of entitlement. And I think that's what this full moon in the 5th is asking of you, is instead of you just giving to others and focusing on others and doing for others, with Venus in your 1st house, like what if you wanted people to give to you? What if you wanted people to be generous with you? What if you wanted to finally be recognized and finally fill up your cup and feel like you're not just the one providing, you're provided for? So there's something again here with that entitlement piece of like, I'm good at this, I deserve this, I need help, and I'm asking for what I want and what I need. But there's something on here with the Ace of Wands in reverse and the 5 of Cups. I almost feel like this could be a separate message, and this might not be for everybody, but there's something here. If you guys decided to not act on an opportunity, or if you had something fail, I feel like this could have taken a hit on your sense of like deservedness. Again, maybe a made up word, I don't know. But that sense of worthiness of like, I'm good at this, I can do this, or da da da. It's like you might have had a path end too short, or you were too fearful to make a certain leap with it, or yeah, there's some kind of like letdown or disappointment where something didn't work out like how you maybe had hoped originally when you first started this or first thought of this. And so there's something here where it's like, I think you're recovering from this. I feel like this is a past thing that you're recovering from, and you're building yourself back up, and you're moving. That was the choppy waters that you were in, like something that didn't work out. You're moving into calmer waters where you're actually like, things are working out and people are recognizing that you're doing really good. And now you're having to get better at receiving and like, and taking more of that in to be like, yeah, I am good. The past where that thing didn't work out, I'm not defined by that. I'm not forever stuck in that, frozen in that phase of my life. I have evolved. I am doing better. And there's proof right here. And also look at all these people saying how much better I'm doing. So there's something here where it's like, give yourself validation and recognition for how much you've evolved as a person, as a soul, within your work, within your children, whatever this is. It's like you are progressing, and it's important to recognize that progress so that you can continue to build yourself back up. So that's super important here. Getting better at receiving, feeling more entitled, building yourself up, entitled in a good way, which I think that you might have a deficit in. So it's going to feel like, oh my God, this is so much, but it's not. So just keep that in mind. This is what I have for you, Capricorn. If you want a 2025 forecast, I do have a limited quantity available in my description box down below. We will go through month by month, look at all the astrology, pull cards, see what's up for you, answer all of your questions. It takes me a long time to prepare that, and then it's a long reading. So if you are interested in that, I only have a few available since my time is really limited right now. So if you want to jump on that, please do. Please don't forget to comment down below. I really appreciate your comments. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Aquarius rising and sun. This Taurus full moon happening on November 15th is taking place in your 4th house. And the moon is conjunct Uranus in your 4th house. So there is some element of unpredictability, of surprise or shock or change or instability or awakening and awareness around the 4th house, which is all about where you live, who you live with, your family, your roots, where you feel like you belong, as well as your safety. Like, am I emotionally safe? Am I financially safe? Do I have savings? Do I feel like I'm in a good, environment with, especially within my home, but really just environments in general, that cultivate my like self-care and the way that I take care of myself. So that is what the 4th house is about. And that's where some of the energy is kind of coming in and disrupting. So if you have been feeling, like, let's say, for example, you don't like where you live, you might notice that at the time of this full moon, that you start to think differently about where you live, and that you might want to change the place that you live. You might decide that you want to shake up your physical environment and start to redecorate or whatever. You might notice that your relationship with your family members goes through some weird ups and downs during this time, or some changes during this time. Any kinds of changes. I mean, it could be adding a new family member, or some kind of family breakup. It could be literally anything. There's some fresh energy that's being brought into the area of your family and your home and your safety in order for you to find the right fit for you, or establish a more authentic and truthful connection, or to feel better in your skin and in your home environment. Let's see, Spirit, what is this Aquarius, or what is this full moon for my Aquarius? So I pulled a Chariot. Oh gosh, too many cards. I pulled the Chariot and I pulled the 5 of Wands so far. I am curious if there is conflict. Yeah, I'm curious if there's conflict with the 5 of Wands, because that is kind of a classic, like, people are fighting card. You also have Venus, which is the ruler of this moon, in your 12th house. And it's squaring the nodes. So wherever we have Venus, for everyone right now, wherever we have this, it's representing some kind of crossroads, some kind of choice, or like a new type of path that we can go down. And we have the option to fall in line with the same old path, or we can choose the new one. So with Venus being in the 12th, there's something that I feel like is trying to be reborn around your relationships, or around your finances, or your self-worth and your relationship with yourself. There's some kind of transformation that you are going through in this area. Oh my God, as I said transformation as I pulled that card. That's wild. And you're not going to fully experience this transformation until Venus emerges in your first house next month. So you might not be feeling all this right now, but there's some stuff coming up for you that is, again, it's like you're needing to kind of shed something. So if you have a certain like comfort zone, especially when it comes to the people in your life, and you're used to like, I'm not going to rock the boat. You know, I'm just going to let things be as they are. Aquarius, they tend to become a little bit like diffuse. So my Aquarius, it depends on your whole chart. That's not enough to go off of. But Aquarius as a sign alone can talk about being, again, a little bit like dissociative or diffuse, especially when it comes to asserting themselves. And so, I don't know, I feel like you guys are maybe needing to like recognize where there can be some, if this isn't going to be for everybody, but just listen for this part, or you can fast forward if it doesn't resonate. For those of you guys who haven't wanted to rock the boat, who've wanted to sustain relationships how they are, who kind of appeases people, I think it's time for you to be more direct and headstrong, and be willing to have conflict in order to get your will done. Yes. It might not be enough with this erratic energy in your 4th house. It might not be enough for you to just play it safe and keep things the same. You might need to express yourself around something that you feel like you've been kind of hiding, or you haven't talked about fully. And it is going to transform the relationship. And again, you won't see that until Venus emerges in your 1st house. You won't fully see this transformation occur. But there's something where it's like, it's time to kind of feel more honest and authentic in your approach with people. This could also indicate some kind of change, like moving, like I already mentioned, those things. That's still true. But there is something here where it's like, let's be honest with ourselves, let's be honest with others. Let's like face something head on. Let's be okay with rocking the boat a little bit and transform our relationship with our own value, our own self-worth, ourselves, in order to be able to speak our truth and not hide any of that. So I feel like that's one message here, and one of the reasons why Venus is squaring the nodes. There's another message here that's very physical, because we're having all Pentacles cards. So we have 5 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. So it's interesting. It skips the 7, but there is this like growth here, 5, 6, 7, or 5, 6, 8. So you're coming. I also set this up in a weird way where the 5 is on top and the 6 and 8 are on bottom. So you guys are coming. I think that you're realizing that you're needing to shake things up as well in order to create more financial security for yourself. So with this 5 Pentacles on top, you might realize that you don't have enough money for something. Maybe you want to invest in retirement. Maybe you want to buy a house. Maybe you have certain like career goals or aspirations. Maybe you want to travel somewhere, or maybe you want to start dating and you're like, I don't even have enough money to take my dates out. There's something here where it's like you're realizing that you're not having enough financially. And I see that at this full moon, you're realizing that, okay, I'm going to shake up how I go about my my money in order for this to improve, especially when it comes to saving. Like, okay, I'm having a realization, I'm having an awakening that I really got to start saving more. And maybe I have to ask for more money, or change my mindset to be more generous or to feel more abundant, or maybe I need to develop another skill. Like, it's going to look different for everybody, but there's something here. It's like, I need to work on this. So I need to work on the growth element. I need to work on the way that I manage it, the way that I am good at receiving. I need to work on how I save it, how I prioritize things, especially when it comes to my financial decisions. And it's like, that's what's going to create more stability for you. And you're going to realize how unstable you feel, or what isn't working financially right now. And you'll be able to make necessary changes to reflect what it is that you're trying to manifest. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Aquarius. If that resonates, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. If you want a 2025 forecast, you can always book that with me in the description box down below. They are first come, first serve. We will go through month by month, look at all of your transits, as well as pull some cards, answer all your questions. So if that interests you, definitely check that out before they sell out. Also, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, and last but not least, we have Pisces rising and sun. For you guys, this Taurus full moon happening on November 15th is taking place in your third house of your mindset, of your sibling relationships, travel, and also just busyness. So with this full moon, you might notice, because it's conjunct Uranus, that this area or these areas of your life become very energized, possibly destabilized or quite chaotic, and full of change and just energy, stimulation. So you might notice that you are really busy, or that people are saying unexpected things, or that you have a lot of things kind of changing in your schedule and that plans are changing. You might notice that you have, if you're traveling, that your flight gets delayed, or you accidentally fly to another state. Not accidentally, but sometimes the planes will keep flying past the airport. Just like random stuff like that. Or you might notice that your relationships with your sibling become a little bit, again, unexpected. Like, they might say or do something that is unusual. It's so weird. I keep pulling this 5 of Cups for like every single group. I don't know why, even when I'm shuffling this deck. So I'm pulling cards right now. But yeah, so this is a time where especially our own mindset can be a little all over the place. Our own mindset and our communication can be a little all over the place, a little bit chaotic during this time. And I definitely see that with the Knight of Wands. This is a third card that came out. The Knight of Wands Knight of Swords in reverse. This definitely feels like we have a lot of mental stimulation, a lot of mental chatter, but it's not organized. It's not constructive or productive. It can be like a wild beast, just like whipping your head around. There's something that you might be ruminating about with this call card. You might need to make a certain decision here. And this could have to deal with either friends, relationships, or some kind of important like long-term path for you, because Venus is in Capricorn in your 11th, squaring your nodes in the 2nd and 8th house. So some of you guys might be trying to make some important decision around like a career path, something that could have to do with finances, or again, something relational where, you're needing to make a decision around, is this friendship right for me? Or is this neighborhood right? Or being a part of this membership or community, is that right for me or not? Or, do I want to work with this kind of person? Do I want to take this kind of mentor, or take this kind of class? Do I want to, move in this type of career direction? Like, I think some of you guys might have to make a choice with this full moon in the 3rd house. Or if there's no choice in particular, it could be that you are having realizations about these areas of your life. Regardless, there's usually some kind of crossroads where you can decide to commit to more of the thought process that you're used to, or make the same kind of decisions that you're used to, or you can decide to go against the grain and do something different or think differently. And it is encouraged to think differently at this time with Venus squaring the nodes. So if you always react to your siblings in this type of way, maybe you decide to react differently. If you typically take on too much in your schedule, maybe you decide to make a change and pare back and reprioritize. If you typically meet people or market yourself in this type of way, maybe you decide to go outside of that and try something new and experiment in some kind of way. So there's something here where it's like, let's get unstuck with our decisions and our perspectives and our communication, and let's make a different kind of choice. And you might be in the process of that, you might be a little bit, again, like ruminating or overthinking, or you might be a little bit like impulsive and hasty, because Uranus can be a little bit like extra that way. So you might have a sudden realization and then make a sudden decision with something. Let me see your advice to see what Spirit says. What's advice, Spirit, for my Pisces? The Sun. Let me pull maybe one more. The Sun feels like the Sun. Okay. The Sun is a card of illumination, of clarity, of making things plain. So part of your advice, I think, is to like untangle the web of your thoughts and do your best to get like a focal point of this is where I'm going or this is what I want, and shine the light on that direction, and do your best to not consider so many possibilities once you commit to something. It's okay to think about many paths, but once you decide, you need to focus on that path and zoom in on that. And that could be part of the reason why Saturn is squaring Mercury. Saturn's in your first, squaring Mercury in your 10th. There could be some important career decision or like life decision around what you're going to do next, and you need to get really focused and not just like, you know, I mean, my Pisces, you're not always, you know, the most you see limitless possibilities. So it's like, how do we then cut all those away, choose one and focus on that one and put our head down? I feel like there's something in regards to that. That's part of your advice here with the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Judgment card. You also have Five of Cups upright and the Wheel of Fortune upright. So there is something in your life that is radically transforming through making this decision. You guys are going to come from a period of feeling like, I'm not really engaged with this area of my life as much, or I'm not emotionally fulfilled here, or I'm actually like really frustrated, or maybe I'm even disappointed in something in some area of my life. And you're going to notice that once you get this clarity and you cut away all these like ties and paths and you get really clear on where you're headed, I really feel like it's from this place that you guys are going to notice that your fortune starts to change. You start to not only have luck, but that you get the fulfillment that you were missing. So you will notice that committing to something is going to give you that thing that was missing for you. And it might actually be a fear for you that if I narrow it down, if I choose one thing, or if I commit to this thing, maybe I actually won't be happy because of making this important decision to not do something or to do something. You might be scared that you're like missing out if you say no to something. But this is actually going to make you happier. It's actually going to give you this feeling of plenitude, even though you are becoming more singular in your focus. It is going to feel more expansive. I kind of want to pull another card for you guys, so I'm going to pull an animal card. You're the only group I'm pulling an animal card for. I don't know why. So what do you have as advice or message for my Pisces, Spirit? With Venus in the 11th, this, like, who you surround yourself with now, who you take advice from now, it's important. The raccoon, the lion, and the hyena. There's some false energy here with the raccoon and the hyena. This is somebody hiding behind a mask and somebody hiding behind their humor. That might not be like what's happening for you, but there's something here around like, I can hide behind something. And it almost comes from like, if I don't take a stance, if I don't make a decision, if I don't commit to one path, if I don't get super focused, then I can like hide in these roles and these masks and all these different ideas. I can get lost and hide in that. You know, like, oh, I'm still deciding, you know, I still have all these things that I got to figure out and I'm still deciding. So because I'm still deciding, like, I don't have to commit and I don't have to be disappointed with, you know, or take a risk on something, or, you know, take that chance to put myself out there. It's like you're hiding behind either the busyness or some kind of mask, or needing to make the decision. You're like using that as a front for not having to take a chance on your heart and listen to and like embrace more of like your power, with this lion card being in the center. The lion and the sun, this is about your purpose. This is about your clarity of vision. This is about authority and you leading and taking up space and being seen for what you do. And there might be some ways that you guys, again, are hiding by being really busy or really social or falling into groups, or it's going to look so different. Or again, saying that you're still learning or still needing to decide something. Whatever it is, like, it's all kind of a facade or a layer of protection that you are using to not have to fully go out and show all of yourself, or fully go out and commit to something and do your best with something and be seen for something. So it's important to recognize if you're holding yourself back in some way through these kind of little like excuses or like facades or faces that we can wear. So that is your advice, my beautiful Pisces. I hope that this makes sense for you. If it does, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. I love to read how this is associated with your life, if it is. And if you want a reading from me, I am now offering 2025 forecasts, where I'm going to break down month by month what you can expect with the astrology, with the tarot. We're going to answer all your questions. There are a limited number because it does take me many hours to compile this. And it is also a longer reading, so I don't have that much time. So if you want one, then act now. Please also consider subscribing to my channel, giving me a thumbs up, commenting, helping me get the word out there. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.